course, we all can take care of most of the animals in the building, but my main focus is the birds. I've always been a bird person my whole life, either bird watching or bird breeding at home, or my whole family seems to be like that. My mother was a big birder. The Gulf Coast here have been extremely affected. The number of birds that they're finding oiled, the number of birds that go out, catch food, land in the oil, and then go sit on their chicks or their eggs. I don't know if we'll ever find all the birds that have perished, but I'm sure there's a lot more than they have found. Just think to the bottom or whatever. A lot of places that are very hard to get to. But I know people have gone out looking for the birds. Even, from the pelicans, you hear about that a lot, but the spoonbills, the beautiful pink birds with oil all on their breasts, and then going back to their nests and probably killing those chicks. I don't know, and I don't think we know yet. Because there were dispersants used, and I don't know if that's good or bad yet. I don't think we'll know that for a while. We don't know what's happening to this food supply. We know that there are now billions probably of tiny droplets of oil underneath the surface. With the dispersants, you made a two-dimensional problem three-dimensional. So now it's all on the water column, and they have found oil in crab larvae, tiny, tiny crab larvae. And those crabs go up to Chesapeake Bay. So as far as the food chain, I don't know, and I think it's way too early to tell. I know there's been a campaign recently, it seems, to make everyone think that the oil is all gone. But by some estimates, 220 million gallons of oil, it's not all gone. Yeah. Also, in the past week, there's a wellhead that was hit by a barge off the coast of Louisiana, which is still spewing. An abandoned wellhead. They said 10 or 12 more days to close that. There was an oil storage container near Morgan City, which leaked 2,400 gallons of oil. Up in Michigan, you have the creek that got filled over 1 million gallons, I believe. It's hard to keep up. It's going into the Kalamazoo River, maybe headed towards Lake Michigan. You have the pipeline in Alaska. You have China cleaning up a massive oil spill right now. It's pretty discouraging, but I don't know what's going to happen to all 220 millions of gallons of oil under the surface, or a lot of it under the surface. In southeast Louisiana, if you're not eating seafood, you're out catching it. And also the oil rigs. A lot of people make their living out there. So they tried to have a moratorium on deep water drilling, on new wells, which was maybe 30-something wells. I know I probably don't have a popular view in this part of the country about it, but there's been no new technology since the 1970s about how to clean up oil. The company that's involved with the Macondo spill, the deep water rig right now, hasn't spent $1 on cleanup research before the spill. So it's kind of discouraging in that I don't see, after a huge disaster like this, I don't even see a tiny response in as much as, campaigns to even carpool, or people would rather die than take a bus, or buy maybe a smaller car. I don't know, it's kind of discouraging, in my opinion. A lot of sea turtles at night, and after getting the oil out of them, they're closely monitored, and each are in their own separate tub. They're passing through their bodies pen caps and straws and things that, little things. Put a litter basket on your boat. It's kind of hard watching these after you pull all the oil off of them and out of them, and then going to check on them later, and there's a fishing lure floating in the water or sunk on the bottom. And it's kind of already, you know what I mean? And then to see that. So something simple, don't litter. Recycle. Things things like that would be a huge help, I believe. Being able to help, being qualified and having the hazardous waste handling, training, and just being able to go over there and clean these animals. And I do it, I volunteer, you know, with the Audubon Nature Institute. And I won't say I'm happy to do it. No one's happy to watch these animals and how they suffer. But it's very rewarding and very glad because you watch it on the news, if you can take it anymore, and to be able to do something, and something that's concrete. And like the day we put those 4 turtles that we had cleaned up and had been monitored for weeks, and we put them on exhibit. And they're growing so fast. Even being here every day, I can see how fast they're growing. And they're doing well, and hopefully they'll continue because there is hardly anything known about sea turtles and oil spill. We're kind of writing the book as we go along. But the way these guys are doing so far, it's fantastic watching them. And I think the public likes coming in to see them, too. It's really affected everyone in this state. Now I think about 60 miles from the coast as a crow flies. If you take the river, I think it's 110. But everyone here, of course, we had Katrina, and that's been almost 5 years, but that was a big deal. A lot of people are still affected by this, and now this spill. It just seems too much. Last week we had the threat of a tropical storm coming here. Thank God she fizzled. That was the best tropical storm ever. Thank you, Bonnie. But it's been very hard. But also, the Audubon Nature Institute has our facility where we clean the turtles across the river, and so many vets from across the country, and vet techs, and people coming down and volunteering with us. People have experience from other aquariums or zoos, and we've gotten. I'm so lucky I get to work with some of the best turtle vets in the country because they want to come down here and get the experience. And learning something from each one of those has been really, really amazing. I really am glad to be able to go over there and do that and clean some guys up with the best in the profession and see what happens. I want to see what happens. One of the things we were talking about is the dolphin. I don't know. After doing all these turtles, we do a lot of rehab here, and over the years I've got to release a lot of turtles. And I hope I'm around when the Gulf is ready for these turtles to go back. But I don't know. If you look at the Valdez spill, there's still no herring there 21 years later. 21 years later. Those towns were built for the herring. Still not, you know. But hopefully I'll be an old man out on a boat pushing a little turtle by that time getting turtles back out to the sea. And that would be